Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Jaya Gaura Nitai Gaura Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Hari Bol Gaur Brahmanand Hari Hari Bol
Hari Hari Bol प्रणाम संकीर्तन की जाए। दीपक प्रभु
Hare Krishna. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ramo Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha, Shyam Sundar Radha, Shyam Sundar Radhe.
Jaya Radha, Shama Sundar Radha, Shama Radhe.
Jaya Radha, Shyam Sundar Radha, Shyam Sundar Radhe.
Jaya Radha, Shama Sundar Radha, Shama Sundar Radhe.
Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra.
Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra.
Jaya Gaur Nitai, Jaya Gaur Nitai, Gaur Nitai, Jaya Gaur Nitai.
Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
और हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जाए, गो प्रमाण दे, हरि गोपाल की जाए, ये सदा शिव की जाए. Think maybe one more minute, Maharaj is, don't see Maharaj yet. Maybe we can continue, Prabhu, another 2-3 minutes. Once Maharaj joins,
Yeah, okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Very happy to see you, Maharaj. It's our great fortune to have you on our channel. We offer our respectful obeisances at your lotus feet. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhu bhayavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. All glories to you, Maharaj. Always Prabhupada. We'll give a quick introduction, Maharaj, and then we can start with Kirtan.
Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj. His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj was born as Glenn Philip Teton, the only son of a respected Chicago lawyer, was later appointed judge in March of 1969 while studying at Brandeis University in Boston. He met His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, from whom he felt he learned more in one brief exchange than he had learned in his many years of academic education. After graduating from Brandeis cum laude, he accepted formal initiation from Srila Prabhupada and received the spiritual name Giriraj Das. Giriraj quickly became a leading member of the Boston Center, and he was soon given the opportunity to go to India with Srila Prabhupada and helped establish Prabhupada's mission there. In 1972, Giriraj Maharaj was appointed by Prabhupada to be president of ISKCON Bombay and trustee of the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust. Since then, he has made many significant contributions to Srila Prabhupada's mission, most notably overseeing all aspects of the development of Hare Krishna land in Juhu, Bombay. He was instrumental in the acquisition and development of the Bhaktivedanta Ashram in Govardhan and led the development of the Kirtan Ashram for women, the Bhaktivedanta Hospice, and the Vrindavan Institute of Palliative Care, all in Vrindavan. Through his effort, Giriraj Swami Maharaj has become renowned for austerities. He has accepted his loyalty and dedication to Srila Prabhupada's mission, his ability to raise funds and cultivate important members of society, and his care for devotees around the world. In the following Prabhupada's departure in 1977, Giriraj Maharaj was awarded the Renounced Order of Life and appointed president of ISKCON's Board of Trustees in India. In 1982, he was appointed to ISKCON's Governing Body Commission. He went on to oversee the society's activities in Bombay, Mauritius, South Africa, Spain, Portugal, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan. Maharaj also taught at the Vrindavan Institute of Higher Education and continues to lecture and to give presentation at Japa retreats and workshops around the world. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for your valuable association. You can start us.
Okay. First, I'd like to request the devotees participating on Zoom to put on their cameras so you can see your moonlight faces. So yes, I will begin by singing the Mangalacharana prayers and leading a short kirtan. And then we will speak about Shivaratri. Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Cha Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaur Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Srila Guru Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Paripraja Kacharya Stotra Satyasri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Paripraja Kacharya Stotra Satyasri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Jai. So, I welcome you on this auspicious occasion of Maha Shivarathri, on which we take the opportunity to glorify Lord Shiva, who is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, as the greatest of Vaishnavas. Of course, we learn from the Bhagavad Gita that we have no need to worship demigods, as Krishna says in the 7th chapter, text 23. Antavatu phalam te sham tadbhavatyalpamedasam devan devaya joyanti madbhakta yanti mam api. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. In his purport, Srila Prabhupada says, some commentators on the Bhagavad Gita say that one who worships a demigod can reach the Supreme Lord. But here it is clearly stated that the worshippers of demigods go to the different planetary systems where the various demigods are situated. Then there's a verse in the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yata taror mula nisechanena tripyanti tatskanda bujo pasaka prano parachayatendriyanam tataivas sarvarhanam achuteja. By giving water to the root of a tree, one satisfies its branches, twigs, and leaves. And by supplying food to the stomach, one satisfies all the senses of the body. Similarly, by engaging in the transcendental service of the Supreme Lord, one automatically satisfies all the demigods and all other living entities. That's Srimad Bhagavatam 4:31-14. So we really have no need to worship demigods. The demigod worshippers, as described in the verse we just read, are alphamedasa, less intelligent. The opposite of alphamedasa is sumedasa, or very intelligent. And those who worship Krishna, especially through the Sankirtan movement in the present age, are described as sumedasa. Krishna Varnam Twisa Krishnam Sangopanga Straparshadam Yagai Sankirtana Prayar Yajantihi Sumedasaha. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead who constantly sings the name of Krishna. That is Srimad Bhagavatam 11:5-32. Furthermore, the demigods are not able to give even material benedictions without the sanction of the Supreme Lord. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hrideshe arjuna tishtati. The Lord is in the heart of everyone, including the demigods. So unless he gives his sanction, the demigods themselves cannot give even limited temporary benefits. So from every point of view, we should worship Krishna. And devotees of Krishna need not worship any demigod. Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is like the king, and the various demigods are like ministers in the cabinet of the king, or department heads in the government. As Srila Prabhupada said, if you pay taxes to the central treasury, you need not bribe the ministers or officers in charge of different departments. When you pay your taxes into the central treasury, you have met your obligations and are entitled to all the benefits of a citizen. So there is no need to worship demigods, and in fact, the worship of demigods is discouraged in the Bhagavad Gita. The Supreme Lord Krishna says, Yepyanta devata bhakta yajante shadayan vitaha tibimam eva kaunteya yajantya vidi purvakam. Those who are devotees of other demigods and who worship them with faith actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, but they do so in a wrong way. Gita 9:23. Therefore, Vaishnavas do not celebrate Shivarathri. Yet there is another confidential aspect to Lord Shiva that ordinary worshippers with insufficient knowledge of Shastra, of Srimad Bhagavatam, do not know that Lord Shiva himself is the greatest Vaishnava. Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. And the worship of Vaishnavas, the service of Vaishnavas and the glorification of Vaishnavas is included in Krishna consciousness. In fact, it is most highly recommended. So in an assembly of learned devotees, such as all of you, we can appreciate Shiva as a Vaishnava. But otherwise, we don't worship Lord Shiva, because if we did, people could misunderstand and conclude, oh, ISKCON devotees worship Shiva, so we will too. And they will worship Lord Shiva for material benefit. Or they may think that Lord Shiva is on the same level as Krishna or Supreme. In India, there's a history of debate between Vaishnavas and Shaivites over who is supreme. And as Srila Prabhupada said, in such debates, the Vaishnavas always win. So I was the first devotee from ISKCON to visit Madras, and I became quite a sensation, an American Vaishnava. Most people there had never seen a Western sadhu, and they wanted to help. Several suggested that I meet one Mr. Ramakrishna, who they said was pious and religious and would be happy to hear of our activities. So I met him, and he turned out to be one of those people who thought that Shiva was supreme. Very quickly, we came to blows, verbal blows. He had a volatile nature, and he became very angry. He became red in the face, and he raised his voice. And the meeting ended quite abruptly. But I kept preaching and meeting people who suggested you have to meet Mr. Ramakrishna. He is a very pious man. He's a very religious man. And I imagined that he was meeting people saying, oh, you should meet the Hare Krishna devotees. They are very good people. They are doing excellent work. After a few weeks, I thought, maybe I should give it another try. This time I will be more careful. So I phoned him, and he immediately agreed to meet me. That made me think that people were also speaking favorably about us to him, and that it was embarrassing for him as well that we had disagreed so vehemently. So we met, and I tried to restrain myself, and he tried to restrain himself, but eventually we came to the same point. Who is supreme, Krishna, Vishnu, or Shiva? The argument escalated, but neither of us wanted it to end the way the last one had. Then I got an inspiration and suggested, in 2 weeks, my spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, is coming to Madras. So instead of us discussing, why don't I invite you to meet him when he comes, and you can discuss with him directly? He liked the idea. It was a way out for both of us. And ultimately, what could be better than to meet a pure devotee of Krishna? After Srila Prabhupada arrived, Mr. Ramakrishna came to meet him. I met your disciple Giriraj, Mr. Ramakrishna said, and I argued that Shiva is supreme. And he argued that Krishna is supreme. So who is supreme? But Srila Prabhupada took a very different approach. He didn't enter into the controversy about who is supreme. Rather, he said, there are two words in Sanskrit, puja and bhakti. In puja, one worships the deity to get some material benefit, whereas in bhakti, one worships only to give pleasure to the deity without any expectation of personal return. Then Srila Prabhupada said, generally, the worshippers of Shiva engage in puja. They worship to get some material benefit. Whereas in bhakti, we worship Krishna for the sake of Krishna's pleasure, just to please him. Mr. Ramakrishna asked, is it not possible to worship Shiva in the mood of bhakti? And Srila Prabhupada replied, it is possible, but it would be exceptional. For example, generally people go to a liquor shop to buy liquor. Now, one could go for another purpose, but that would be an exception. Generally, people go to buy liquor. Mr. Ramakrishna was satisfied with the answer. Srila Prabhupada did not enter into the controversy over which deity was supreme. Rather, he explained different moods in the worship of different deities. So, as Vaishnavas, we have no need to worship Shiva because we are worshiping Krishna directly. Still, we may worship Lord Shiva as a Vaishnava, a devotee of Krishna, because the worship of Krishna's devotees pleases Krishna. The basic definition of bhakti is given by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, 1.1.11, famous verse. Anyavilasita shunyam jnana karmadhyanabritam anukulena krishnanushilanam bhaktiruttama. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably, without any desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. In pure devotional service, one should have no desire other than to serve and please Krishna. Anyavilasita sunyam. And jnana karmadhyanabritam, one's service should not be covered by jnana, speculative knowledge that leads to an impersonal conclusion, or by karma, fruitive work, as an ordinary puja, which one performs for personal gain. In ordinary affairs, for example, one may invite someone to a restaurant and give him food and drink in the hope of getting some benefit from him. In a similar way, one may offer bael leaves and Ganga Jal to Lord Shiva in order to get some personal return. That fruitive mentality has no place in pure devotion. And certainly the speculative idea of merging and becoming one with God has no place. Anything that covers the true nature of bhakti has no place. Pure devotional service must be rendered favorably to Krishna. So in the Nectar in Srila Prabhupada's introduction to the Nectar of Devotion, he discusses that verse, Anyavilasita sunyam, in great detail, and includes the commentaries of Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And all agree that in this verse, Krishna Anushilanam, Krishna does not mean Krishna alone, but includes his personal expansions, such as Lord Ramachandra, Lord Nrsimha, Lord Varaha, and other Vishnu Tattvas, as well as his name, form, qualities, pastimes, paraphernalia, and pure devotees. As Srila Prabhupada writes, Krishna includes all such expansions as well as his pure devotees. So serving and worshiping pure devotees is included within Uttama Bhakti, pure devotional service to Krishna. And thus devotees of Krishna sometimes worship Lord Shiva as a pure devotee. Many of Lord Shiva's pastimes are described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the perfectly pure, spotless Purana. Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam. And it is called the Paramahansa Samhita, for it is meant for the highest class of transcendentalists who are completely free from envy. It is the topmost scripture and discusses no subject other than Krishna and pure devotional service. The pastimes with Lord Shiva show his true nature or internal mood as a Vaishnav, a pure devotee of Krishna. In one pastime, the 100 sons of King Bharisat, known as the Prachetas, were engaged in austerities to realize Vishnu or Krishna. Lord Shiva met them and, appreciating their austerities, acted as their guru to guide them. He gave them a series of prayers to sing to please Lord Vishnu and become pure devotees. Upon first meeting the Prachetas, he made the following statement, which I shall read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 24, chanting the song sung by Lord Shiva, text 30. Ata Bhagavata Yuyam Priyasta Bhagavanyata Namad Bhagavata Namcha Prayan Anyostikari Chit. Translation. You are all devotees of the Lord, and as such, I appreciate that you are as respectable as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. I know in this way that the devotees also respect me, and that I am dear to them. Thus, no one can be as dear to the devotees as I am. And in his purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, it is said, Vaishnavanam yata Shambhu, Lord Shiva is the best of all devotees. Therefore, all devotees of Lord Krishna are also devotees of Lord Shiva. In Vrindavan, there is Lord Shiva's temple called Gopishwar. The gopis used to worship not only Lord Shiva, but Katyayani or Durga as well. But their aim was to attain the favor of Krishna. A devotee of Lord Krishna does not disrespect Lord Shiva, but worships Lord Shiva as the most exalted devotee of Lord Krishna. Consequently, whenever a devotee worships Lord Shiva, he prays to Lord Shiva to achieve the favor of Krishna, and he does not request material profit. In the Bhagavad Gita 7:20, it is said that generally people worship demigods for some material profit. Kamaistaistharitagana. Driven by material lust, they worship demigods. But a devotee never does so, for he is never driven by material lust. That is the difference between a devotee's respect for Lord Shiva and an asura's respect for him. The asura worships Lord Shiva take some benediction from him, misuses the benediction, and ultimately is killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who awards him liberation. Because Lord Shiva is a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he loves all the devotees of the Supreme Lord. So this is a symptom of a devotee. One who is actually a devotee of the Supreme Lord will love all other devotees of the Supreme Lord. Lord Shiva truly loved the Prachetas. He went out of his way to help them, and further, he respected them as representatives of the Supreme Lord. And in his purport, Srila Prabhupada continues, Lord Shiva told the Prachetas that because they were devotees of the Lord, he loved them very much. Lord Shiva is kind and merciful not only to the Prachetas. Anyone who is a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very dear to Lord Shiva. So, my dear devotees, you are all very dear to Lord Shiva. So, because of the time factor, of course I could, well, maybe, yeah, I'll speak a little about Lord Shiva in Vraja, and then I will come to a part of Srimad Bhagavatam that describes Lord Shiva's highly magnanimous nature. So one prominent deity of Lord Shiva in Vraja is Nandeshwar Mahadev at Nandagram. He is worshipped in a small temple situated in the courtyard of the main temple there. And every day the pujaris offer him the remnants of food that has been offered to Lord Krishna in the main temple. This tradition goes back to the time when Krishna and Balaram lived in Nandagram with Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda. As the local history goes, when Lord Shiva came to Nanda Bhavan to see his beloved Lord Krishna, he arrived in his usual attire, with matted hair, ashes all over his body, and a snake wrapped around his neck, playing his damaru drum. When Mother Yashoda came to the door, she could not bring herself to let this wild-looking ascetic in to see her darling little Krishna. And so she gave him alms and sent him on his way. As he was leaving, however, baby Krishna began to cry. Mother Yashoda tried in many ways to pacify him, but she could not. He was inconsolable. Then she began to think she might have committed an offense against the ascetic and that he had put a spell on her baby. So she sent for him. In the end, Lord Shiva was found in the forest now known as Asheshwar Van, the forest of hope, where he was praying, hoping against hope. Asha means hope, that he would somehow get the darshan of Nandalal, Krishna. So he was very happy when he was asked to return to Nanda Bhavan. And as soon as Lord Shiva arrived, baby Krishna stopped crying. But when Mother Yashoda indicated that it was time for him to leave, Krishna again began to cry. He didn't want Lord Shiva to leave. And then it was settled that Lord Shiva would remain permanently in Nanda Bhavan and get the Charanamrita and food remnants of Nandalal every day. And to this day, it has been so. And There's Kameshwar Mahadev at Kamyavan. There's Chakleshwar Mahadev at Chakratirtha. And so many wonderful pastimes. And but the most famous and important deity of Lord Shiva for us is Gopeshwar Mahadev, established by Vraja near the site of the Rasa dance near Vamsivat, where Lord Krishna, as Gopinath, played upon his flute to call the gopis. Gopeshwar Mahadev wanted to participate in the Rasa dance, the highest and best of all of Lord Krishna's pastimes. According to one version, and there are different little variations on this, but according to one version, Lord Shiva approached Purnamasi, an elderly Brahmani and Shiksha Guru of the Vaishnavis, of the Vrajavasis, who was the mother of Sandipani Muni, Lord Krishna's guru. She advised Mahadev to perform some austerities and then take bath in the Yamuna. Thus he would get the form of a gopi. According to other sources, Purnamasi had directed him to Vrindadevi, and Vrindadevi advised him to take bath in Mansarovara, a little further south across the Yamuna River from Keshagat. But be it as it may, he took bath and came out in the form of a gopi. When Krishna was about to enjoy his Rasa Leela with the gopis, this new gopi appeared. The other gopis took note. Oh, a new gopi has come. And they gathered around her. They asked, "What village are you from?" She didn't know what to say. "What is your husband's name? How many cows does he have? Who are your children?" She had no answer. Then the other gopis thought, "This is not a gopi. She's not one of us. This is an impostor." They were ready to beat this imitation gopi when Mother Purnamasi appeared and said, "This is Mahadev Shiva. He is a great demigod. Do not take any action against him." She told Lord Shiva, "No one can participate in the Rasa dance without being a gopi. You can observe it from a distance, but you cannot actually enter it." And she gave him a service. He could guard the area of the Rasa dance. One of Lord Shiva's regular service is to be Kshetrapal, protector of the Dham. And he serves as such in Vrindavan, Navadvip, Jagannath Puri, and other holy places. Purnamasi gave Mahadev the authority to restrain the unqualified and to admit the qualified. And beyond that, he would have the power to give someone the qualification to enter. So devotees, Vaishnavas in Vrindavan, prayed to Gopeshwar Mahadev to enable them to enter the pastimes of Krishna with the gopis. I don't know how many of you have seen the Gopeshwar Mahadev temple in Vrindavan, but the deity of Gopeshwar Mahadev is worshipped as a regular Shiva Linga during the day. But every evening at about 4, the pujaris dress the Shiva Linga like a gopi. They cover the linga with a sari and ornaments and decorate it to resemble a gopi, with a crown on it or shawl draped over its top. And devotees come and worship Gopeshwar Mahadev to attain the favor of Radha and Krishna. In his Sankalpa Kalpa Druma 103, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur prays, Vrindavanavani Pate Jaya Soma Soma Mole Sanandana Sanatana Daradedya Gopishwara Vraja Vilasi Yuganangri Padme Prema Prayacha Nirupadi Namo Namaste. O gatekeeper of Vrindavan, O Soma, all glories unto you. O you whose forehead is decorated with the moon, Soma, and who is worshipped by the great sages headed by Sanandana, Sanatana, and Narada. O Gopishwar, desiring that you bestow upon me limitless love to the lotus feet of Sri Radha Madhava, who performs joyous pastimes in Vraja Dham, I offer my obeisances unto you again and again. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai. Now, once, as described in Srimad Bhagavatam, Nanda Maharaj and the cowherd men went to go to Ambikavan to observe Shivaratri, which they did. The Bhagavatam uses the word ekada, once. Srila Prabhupada explains in the Krishna book, between the Do-Yatra ceremony, holy, and the Rasa Lila ceremony, there is an important ceremony called Shivaratri, which is especially observed by the Shaivites, or devotees of Lord Shiva. Sometimes the Vaishnavas also observe this ceremony because they accept Lord Shiva as the foremost Vaishnava. But the function of Shivaratri is not observed very regularly by the bhaktas or devotees of Krishna. Under the circumstances, Srimad Bhagavatam states that Nanda Maharaj and the other cowherd men once upon a time desired. This means that they were not regularly observing the Shivaratri function, but that once upon a time they wanted to go to Ambikavan. So that was Srila Prabhupada's explanation from the Krishna book, chapter 34. And what was the result? Srila Prabhupada explains. They had come to worship Lord Shiva and Ambika, but the result was that they became more and more attached to Krishna. So I'm a little worried, not worried, but mindful of the time. But I do want to just read this wonderful description of Lord Shiva from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 7, Lord Shiva Saves the Universe. Chapter 7, Lord Shiva saves the universe by drinking poison. Chapter summary. The summary of the 7th chapter is as follows. As described in this chapter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appearing in his incarnation as a tortoise, dove deep into the ocean to carry Mandara mountain on his back. Now, these histories may sound fantastic, and that's why some people consider them to be mythology, but we do not accept the pastimes described in Srimad Bhagavatam as mythology. We accept them as fact. At first, the churning of the ocean produced Kalakuta poison. Everyone feared this poison, but Lord Shiva satisfied them by drinking it. And I'll read that part. I'll start with text 17. The Lord appeared like a blackish cloud. He was dressed with yellow garments. His earrings shone on his ears like lightning, and his hair spread all over his shoulders. He wore a garland of flowers, and his eyes were pinkish. With his strong, glorious arms, which award fearlessness throughout the universe, he took hold of Vasuki and began churning the ocean, using Mandara Mountain as a churning rod. When engaged in this way, the Lord appeared like a beautifully situated mountain named Indranila. Text 18. The fish, sharks, tortoises, and snakes were most agitated and perturbed. The entire ocean became turbulent, and even the large aquatic animals like whales, water elephants, crocodiles, and timingila fish, large whales that can swallow small whales, came to the surface. While the ocean was being churned in this way, it first produced a fiercely dangerous poison called hala hala. O king, when that uncontrollable poison was forcefully spreading up and down in all directions, all the demigods, along with the Lord himself, approached Lord Shiva, Sadashiva. Feeling unsheltered and very much afraid, they sought shelter of him. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. One may question that since the Supreme Personality of Godhead was personally present, why did he accompany the demigods and people in general to take shelter of Lord Sadashiva instead of intervening himself? In this connection, Srila Madhvacharya warns, Rudrasya yashayo ryatya swayam vishnur visham vibhu na sanjahare samarpo vayum choche prashantaye. Lord Vishnu was competent to rectify the situation, but in order to give credit to Lord Shiva, who later drank all the poison and kept it in his neck, Lord Vishnu did not take action. Text 20. The demigods observed Lord Shiva sitting on the summit of Kailash Hill with his wife Bhavani for the auspicious development of the three worlds. He was being worshipped by great saintly persons desiring liberation. The demigods offered him their obeisances and prayers with great respect. And basically, they praised Lord Shiva and asked him to save the situation. So then we come to this very important point. Text 36. Lord Shiva is always benevolent to all living entities. When he saw that the living entities were very much disturbed by the poison, which was spreading everywhere, he was very compassionate. Thus he spoke to his eternal consort Sati as follows. Lord Shiva said, "My dear Bhavani, just see how all these living entities have been placed in danger because of the poison produced from the churning of the ocean of milk. It is my duty to give protection and safety to all living entities struggling for existence. Certainly, it is the duty of the Master to protect his suffering dependents. People in general, being bewildered by the illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are always engaged in animosity towards one another. But devotees, even at the risk of their own temporary lives, try to save them. And this is very exemplary and instructive for us. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This is the characteristic of a Vaishnava, Paraduka Dukhi. A Vaishnava is unhappy to see the conditioned souls unhappy. Otherwise, he would have no business teaching them how to become happy. In materialistic life, people must certainly engage in activities of animosity. Lord Shiva and his followers in the Parampara system try to save people from this dangerous condition of materialistic life. There are 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas, and the Rudra Sampradaya is one of them because Lord Shiva, Rudra, is the best of the Vaishnavas, Vaishnavanamyata Shambhu. Indeed, as we shall see, Lord Shiva drank all the poison for the benefit of humanity. Text 40, translation. My dear gentle wife Bhavani, when one performs benevolent activities for others, listen to this. When one performs benevolent activities for others, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, is very pleased. And when the Lord is pleased, I am also pleased, along with all other living creatures. Therefore, let me drink this poison, for all the living entities may thus become happy because of me. Srila Shukadeva Goswami continued, after informing Bhavani in this way, Lord Shiva began to drink the poison, and Bhavani, who knew perfectly well the capabilities of Lord Shiva, gave him her permission to do so. Thereafter, Lord Shiva, who is dedicated to auspicious, benevolent work for humanity, compassionately took the whole quantity of poison in his palm and drank it. In fact, here's a beautiful picture of that. Lord Shiva taking that poison and drinking it. Purport. Although there was such a great quantity of poison that it spread all over the universe, Lord Shiva had such great power that he reduced the poison to a small quantity so that he could hold it in his palm. One should not try to imitate Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva can do whatever he likes, but those who try to imitate Lord Shiva by smoking ganja and other poisonous things will certainly be killed because of such activities. And I should mention here that there's no evidence in any scripture that Lord Shiva smoked ganja. But sometimes people smoke ganja in the name of following Lord Shiva. Text 43. As if in defamation, the poison born from the ocean of milk manifested its potency by marking Lord Shiva's neck with a bluish line. That line, however, is now accepted as an ornament of the Lord. And here's a very important verse, very beautiful verse. Text 44. It is said that great personalities almost always accept voluntary suffering because of the suffering of people in general. This is considered the highest method of worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is present in everyone's heart. Text 45. Upon hearing of this act, everyone, including Bhavani, Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu and the people in general very highly praise this deed performed by Lord Shiva, who is worshipped by the demigods and who bestows benedictions upon the people. Hare Krishna. Shri Mahadev ki jai. Shri Shivarathri ki jai. So thank you all for joining on this auspicious occasion. And we can now open the floor or open the microphone to questions and comments.
Yes, Maharaj, thank you. Prannath Prabhu, go ahead. And, yeah, please raise your hand so that we will go in sequence. Go ahead,
Hare Krishna,
Prannath.
Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Can you hear
Hare
me?
Krishna.
Am I audible?
You are audible and visible.
Shivratri, Guru Maharaj. I wanted you to share about your Lord Shiva's realization in Vrindavan. I had heard it very in a except small thing. I wanted to hear it properly from your side. You got the special
What did you hear?
Lord Shiva.
What did you hear?
I heard you got some Lord Shiva's special mercy in Vrindavan. It was the crescent moon was there, but I don't know the exact full detail about it. You had seen the crescent moon, and you had some. I think I don't recollect the.
Yes, one evening I visited Kopeshwar Mahadev, and so I was walking near the Yamuna River afterwards, and it's true, I saw there was a crescent moon like we see on Lord Shiva, and I just felt that he was my Shiksha Guru, or one of my Shiksha Gurus. And there was also a lady singing very beautifully on the banks of the Yamuna. It was unusual, for Vrindavan, but yeah, she was singing very beautifully. Om Namo Shivaya. So, yeah, I did have that thought that Lord Shiva was my Shiksha Guru, a Shiksha Guru, yes.
And I had that same realization, Guru Maharaj, because unknowingly, when I was a small child, young, just in my teens, I never had chanted any mantra. But one day I saw my uncle, who was religious, that I was just peeping into his room. He was chanting Om Namo Shivaya. So that was the first mantra even I got attracted. And even I feel every second, even while doing parikrama in Radha Rasbihari, I see Lord Shiva looking at Radha Rasbihari. Even I feel his special mercy many of time. I had a nice realization when I was in Gopeshwar Mahadev. I had gone to the temple and there was nobody in the altar. So I had a flower, but I said, now how can I offer? Because no pujari is there. So I happened to just toss it off, and it went properly into his lotus feet, like the place. So I was very happy.
Nice.
So I also feel that he guides and he is always blessing. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, one thing I should mention is that if someone is sincere and not worshiping Lord Shiva for material benefit, Lord Shiva will bring the person to Krishna. That is a general principle, and I saw it actually in the case of a professor here at the University of California at Santa Barbara in the Department of Religious Studies. Anyway, it's a long story, but she was a devotee of Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva brought her to Krishna, to recognize Krishna as the supreme. Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam, on your lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Actually, Maharaj, it was happened on me also. Lord Shiva directed to Lord Krishna. It was happened in my life also. So I have one quick question, Maharaj. That is, I am a little bit confused. That is Lord Sadashiv and Shiva and Rudra. What is the difference among them?
Yes. Well, the material universe is covered, and then beyond that covering is the Vraja river, and then beyond that is the spiritual world. So there is Lord Shiva there, just on the border, outside the material world, just at the beginning of the spiritual world, and that is Sadashiva. Now, one very interesting fact is that Advaitacharya from the Panchatattva, he's an incarnation of Vishnu, Mahavishnu, and also Sadashiva. But in the Gaur-Ganodesha Deepika, which explains the identities of the devotees in Gaur Lila, what are their identities in Krishna Lila, says that he's a cowherd boy with the name Sadashiva. That was just an interesting note. Yeah, and the Rudras, they're in the material world. Yeah. So, yeah, there was one other part you mentioned, Sadashiva and the Rudras.
And Shambhu.
Oh, Shambhu. Well, Shambhu is another name for Shiva. And he is Shiva, but he's mentioned as one of the 12 Mahajans. Swayambhu Narada Shambhu.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Lord Shiva, Shambhu, he's one of our gurus. He's one of the 12 Mahajans. Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj. Dandavat Pranam, Maharaj.
Yeah. Thank you.
Next, Amritanand Prabhu, go ahead. Then I think Devkinam. How is she? Mataji, then Devkinam. Yeah, go ahead, Amritanand.
Hey Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance, all courage to Prabhupada. Maharaj, I'd like to share something based on the instruction you gave in your last program here, how it has helped me, and then I have a question regarding Lord Shiva. Maharaj, you had mentioned when I asked a question that, watching Netflix or news and so on and so forth. So you said there's so much material available on the internet. So I started doing that, and it has substantially cut down this news, and it's been probably a couple of weeks I haven't watched news. So that was good. And what I've done is I've started rewatching Abhay which His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj came. And incidentally, Maharaj, today it came to episode 39, where ISKCON wins the court case for Juhu. And the judge throws it out. All thanks to you and your God brothers, what all you did. And I was reflecting on that. And what came to me is, there was one episode saying matchless gifts and what Prabhupada has given all of us. He gave you and your God brothers and sisters. And then in turn, what all you have done and passing it down. So it's something like a family heirloom, which is coming from this generation to us. And that, got me to think more about Maharaj, that what each one of us in our own yatra, wherever we may be in, New Jersey, New York, South, doesn't matter where. What are we doing? It made me think about what are we doing for the next generation and the next further generation, this matchless gift, how we can go.
Yeah.
So Maharaj, I would like to thank you both for personally helping me in my sadhana. And, just this, watching this, and I was thinking what all you and your God family has accomplished to give us Prabhupada's gift and carry it, the responsibility for us to take it further. So thank you, Maharaj. Thank you very much. And my question, Maharaj, is actually I need a clarification from Your Holiness. We know Lord Shiva, intellectually and philosophically, we can understand Lord Shiva is a great Vaishnav, albeit there is not so much of worship. And I was thinking Prabhupada's instructions when he had given is that you have my books, just stick to my books, don't run around here and there, because it could just confuse. And then if Shiva is something material, there's always a chance of me slipping up, that I could, fool myself and say, okay, I'll worship Shiva, but then it could be a material benefit. Then again, I can slip on my path of bhakti. So is that a reason why the Brahma Gaudiya Sampradaya, and of course, there are nuances in each of these Sampradayas, certain nuances would be there. There would be slight differences here and there. So it's always more advisable to stick to your lane. Is that the correct understanding in addition to the explanation right there?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Srila Prabhupada was really empowered by Krishna. Many learned scholars and devotees agree that he was a Shakti-Avesh avatar, an empowered incarnation. And indirectly, Srila Prabhupada confirmed the same. For example, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a verse, Krishna Shakti Vina Nahi Tara Pravartana, that without being empowered by the Shakti of Krishna, one cannot spread the Sankirtan movement. And so, and yeah, he's especially empowered to present Krishna consciousness for us people in this modern world, in the West and throughout the world. So I would definitely say we should stick to him and to what he's given us and to his parampara. Stay in our lane, as he said. Yes, I agree. Completely.
Thank you again, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Next, Ayushi Mataji.
Ayushi.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
My humble obeisances.
Jai.
All glories to Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, as you told in during our session today, that there are many pseudo devotees who will just say that they are taking intoxication like ganja or marijuana in the name of worshipping Lord Shiva. So today I was reading one text from Bhagavad Gita as it is. It was from 3rd chapter Karma Yoga, 24th verse, wherein it was written in the purport that there are many pseudo devotees of Lord Shiva who want to indulge in smoking ganja, marijuana, and similar intoxicating drugs, forgetting that by so imitating the acts of Lord Shiva, they are calling death very near. So I just wanted to ask that it is written that forgetting that by so imitating the acts of Lord Shiva. So as it is written that, are these acts an imitation of Lord Shiva? Like, I mean, because he's a great Vaishnava, how will he take intoxicant? But I'm not able to understand the meaning of this, that why it is written by so imitating the acts of Lord Shiva. Now, this so imitating the acts means the act of taking marijuana or ganja by the pseudo devotees. So please explain, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, well, I mentioned earlier that as far as we know, there's no evidence in scripture that Lord Shiva ever took ganja or marijuana. But he drank poison. And in a way, ganja is like poison. So yeah, but people have the conception maybe that Lord Shiva smoked ganja, and so they may have the idea that, in the name of Lord Shiva, they can also smoke ganja. But from the purport you read, I mean, it's very much like what we discussed earlier, that they should not do that. Or if they do, they will have to suffer consequences.
Yes, good.
I'm glad you're reading the Bhagavad Gita so carefully and attentively. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. It's by your blessings only that I'm able to read it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Devkinandan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for your blessings. Maharaj, as you read the text so beautifully, purports of Srila Prabhupada's different pastimes, we see Lord Shiva is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. He's the best of the Vaishnavas. He's one of the Mahajanas. Srila Narad Muni and demigods worship, gopis worship Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When he goes to Lord Shiva temple, he dances in front of Lord Shiva. So sometime, this is my personal struggle for so many years now in ISKCON. Sometimes I personally feel difficult to think that Lord Shiva is like a demigod, like Indra, like Surya, like Agni, like Vaju. Those are demigods. Typically we see, but Lord Shiva, he's a Guna avatar. He's one of, so from that, his stature, it seems like if he's not Vishnu, he's also not demigod on that level when you compare so many demigods with. So I feel when I say he's demigod, I feel like I'm offending him, his position. He's so exalted. We don't call our gurus or our sadhus or even Srila Narad Muni, we don't call them as demigods. We feel like they're even beyond the demigod because they're so exalted. But here we see Srila Narad Muni worshipping, Sanatan worshipping, Gopis, Nanda Babas, they're worshipping. So sometimes I feel saying demigod is kind of minimizing Lord Shiva's exalted position. I'm a bit afraid on my personal level. Please correct me if I'm not thinking something right, or what's the proper mood in that direction.
Your mood is proper. I mean, he's much more than an ordinary demigod. But there are people who regard him like a demigod, who worship him for material boons, and who don't know him to be a devotee of Krishna. Many of the demigod worshippers consider all the gods to be on the same level. And yes, so yeah, in our temples, we have to be careful about how we worship Lord Shiva, if at all we do, so people don't misunderstand. But your understanding is fine. It's fine. I mean, Srila Prabhupada said that Lord Shiva is almost Vishnu. He's almost Vishnu. And the Brahma Samhita gives the example of milk and yogurt, that by the addition of some acidic agent, milk turns into yogurt. So Vishnu is like the milk and Shiva is like the yogurt. In one sense, they're the same, but although milk can become yogurt, yogurt cannot become milk. So, but they're very close. They're very close, Vishnu and Shiva. But they're not the same.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Next is Navadip Chandra Prabhu. Maybe after that, then we'll do the Kirtan until 10. I think this may be the last question. Navadip Chandra Prabhu.
Yes. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj, my question is that how do we understand the role of Adi Shankaracharya? He's an expansion of Lord Shiva. So how do we understand his role? Because he had come to spread impersonalism.
Yes. Well, Lord Shiva, he accepts some thankless tasks in service to Lord Krishna. For example, he gives shelter to ghosts and hobgoblins, and that's a service to Krishna. It's a thankless task. Ordinarily, devotees wouldn't want to be associated with ghosts and hobgoblins, but as a service to Krishna, Lord Shiva does that. So Lord Krishna wanted someone to preach Mayavad philosophy, and none of the devotees would do it. Oh, no, Mayavad philosophy, no. But Lord Shiva, so surrendered, he accepted that thankless task, and he came a Shankaracharya and preached Mayavad philosophy. So that's because there was a reason why Krishna wanted him to do that, and Lord Shiva was the one who stepped forward and accepted and agreed to do it. Yeah. I mean, it's part of a whole strategy that, a long time ago, people in India were killing animals in the name of Vedic sacrifice. And so out of compassion for the animals and also for the people who were committing sinful activities, Lord Buddha came. And he preached the philosophy of ahimsa, nonviolence. And he said, well, if the Vedas are telling you that you can sacrifice animals, then don't follow the Vedas. So under the influence of Lord Buddha, on the instructions of Lord Buddha, they set aside the Vedas. But in the long run, it's very bad to be without the Vedas. And so Shankaracharya came, because they were all atheists. So Shankaracharya, he preached a veiled form of atheism, but he gave that interpretation to the Vedas so that the people who were following Buddha, who had become atheists, they could accept it because, you know, impersonalism is not that far from atheism. So, but in doing so, he reestablished the authority of the Vedas. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and he presented the correct understanding of the Vedas. So it is said that Lord Buddha, he built the foundation, and Shankaracharya built the temple, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu installed the deity. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for your time, valuable time, giving your association. Madhupati Prabhu.
Yes, thank you very, very much for enlivening us with this very auspicious day. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam about Lord Shiva's position. So thank you very much, Maharaj.
Pleasure. Honor and a privilege.
It's our privilege to hear from you, Maharaj.
Sorry?
It's our privilege to hear from you.
Thank you.
Yes.
So does this mean we're ending? I mean, there's a hand up. We don't have to. I can speak.
No, Maharaj, we're not ending. Maharaj, we have Kirtan till 10. So that's why I said that. So Maharaj, if you can lead Kirtan for a few minutes, then others can do the finale. Is that okay if time permits?
Sure. Sure, I'll lead Kirtan. Oh, you're here. Okay, yeah, they want, well, you heard, yeah. And what about our Mridanga player? I texted him. We'll begin with.
I should just play from William.
Yeah. Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Ittidamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Shila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Shila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada,
So you wanted us to go until 10. So we have a few more minutes. And I thought to sing the Nishinga prayers.
Sure, Maharaj. Good. Sure. Thank you.
Namaste Narasingaya. Namaste Narasingaya. Namaste Narasingaya. Namaste Narasingaya. Prahlada Hiranyakashipu Vakshaha. Hiranyakashipu Vakshaha. Shila Tankanakaraye. Shila Tankanakaraye. Ito Nishinga Parato Nishingo. Ito Nishinga Parato Nishingo. Ito Nishinga Parato Nishingo. Ito Nishinga Parato Nishingo. Yato Yato Yamitato Nishinga. Yato Yato Yamitato Nishinga. Mahi Nishingo Hridaye Nishingo. Mahi Nishingo Hridaye Nishingo. Mahi Nishingo Hridaye Nishingo. Mahi Nishingo Hridaye Nishingo. Nishingamadhyam Sharanam Prapadye. Nishingamadhyam Sharanam Prapadye. Tavakara Kamalavare Naka Adhuta Shinga. Dalita Hiranyakashipu Anubindam. Keshava Gita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare.
Kara Kamala
Adhuta Shinga Dalita Hiranyakashipu Anubindam. Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare.
Tavakara Kamalavare Nakamadhuta Shinga. Dalita Hiranyakashipu Anubindam. Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Mahabhara Pramana Hare Nakama Tuta Shinga Lalita Hiranya Kashipu Anuvringa Ishavadita Narahari Rupa Jai
Jai Jagadisha Hare.
Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, 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 Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Shiva Prabhupada. Nishinga Bhagavan ki jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol. So we have filled our quota.
Yes, Maharaj. So, quick announcements. Tomorrow, I think those who are doing Ekadasi fasting, they can break the fast, I think around 6:44 to 10:11 a.m. in New Jersey area. Other areas we have to look, I think generally after the sunrise, you need to break fast. Then this Saturday is Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, I think Thiruvabhav disappearance day, fasting till noon. Then March 28th is Gaur Purnima, biggest festival for us, Sunday. So those are the quick announcement.
All right. Well, if we're going to end now, I suggest we conclude with Vaishnav Pranam.
Yes.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnav devotees of the Lord, who are just like and fulfill the desires of everyone, and are full of compassion for the fallen conditions. Manchakalpatrubhya
Patitanam Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Vaishnava Vrinda ki
Jai.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Giriraj Swami Maharaj. Giriraj Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai. Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai Prabhupada.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for
Hare
joining.
Krishna. Dandavat.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai.
Hare
I'm seeing you.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam Maharaj. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yes, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Dandavat. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Hare Krishna. Radhe Radhe. Thank you very much.
Maharaj for getting us close to Lord Shiva.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Jai.
Beautiful.
Bebini.
Rahim.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Krishna.
માધીકરી બે છે ઓકે માધીકરી છે એ લોકો ભગવદ ગીતાનો પેલો ટેન્ટ મૂકીને બેહે મંદિર પાસે Shall we go again? Alola, can you go there? Hey, sister, baby, wait, come on.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam on your lotus feet. I'm Dattatreya Maharaj.
Yes, that's true. Nice to see you. All right, well, I will let you take rest, take prasad, move on to other service. I will also move on to other service. It's a very wonderful way to celebrate Shivaratri with all of you and appreciate the greatest Vaishnava Namakasham. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Jai.
Thank you, Maharaj. Dandavat Pranam, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Jai. Giriraj Swami ki jai.
Jai.
Giriraj Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Haribol.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Nama Prabhu ki jai.
Very tough to live. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai Guru Maharaj ki jai. I think Guru Maharaj is not there.
Thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.